Welcome to the Graybeard Chronicles podcast. Your hosts, Brian Halstead and Kevin Harkins, are two gray-bearded patriots who love God, their family and friends, and their country. The Graybeards are here to inspire, inform, and educate you on a myriad of topics they are passionate about. Brian and Kevin have a strong desire to share this with you to help you live your best life. Sit back and enjoy this amazing podcast as the Graybeards pass along the wisdom of the ages.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. I'm Brian Halstead.
And I'm Kevin Harkins.
And Kevin, we're here to pass along some wisdom of the ages. What the heck does that mean?
We're not perfect, but we do have gray beards. And that means we've got some significant life experience, some life lessons, and some perspectives that are worthy of passing along.
Well, I think that sums it up nicely. Let's get to it. Kevin, what's going on, buddy? How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Let's get to it, as you say.
That's right.
I like that.
To it.
I like that.
So how you doing, man?
Things are great. Yeah, I'm doing fantastic.
We had a great episode last week, and have had awesome feedback. Foodback. Is that like the what term of feedback is that? I think it's just the wrong term. Yeah.
I think it's just the wrong term.
Yeah, and we're good at that. We practiced that a few weeks ago. Some of you might recall. What do we call a herd of deer? A herd.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. What did you call them? A flock.
A flock.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Close enough. Everybody knew what I meant.
Yeah, and then we were throwing all kinds of other crazy stuff out there.
Right.
I did find out, and I smacked myself in the head when I saw it, because I was talking about what's the science of studying bugs. We had that conversation, right? And it's entomology, right? An entomologist.
Yeah, of course.
I'm like, come on, man, I know that.
Yeah.
That's a flashback from my law enforcement days, but clearly I haven't been doing that in a while and haven't been focused on bugs. So, yeah.
Entomology. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was all over that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. By that, you mean you couldn't remember it either.
I was all over it. I got it. What is the study of the ingredients in alcohol that aren't alcoholic? Alcoholic beverages. Whew. That came out wrong, didn't it?
Oh, we talked about that the other day.
Did.
What is it? Congeners, I think, is those are the things that are added to alcohol that actually give it odor, because alcohol in and of itself is an odorless material.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons that we always had to testify that you smelled the odor of an alcoholic beverage, because alcohol itself is odorless.
So I have an observation. I got a couple of them actually. Your home studio, it's very nice. And it is.
Here we go, folks. No. Prepare yourselves.
There's nothing bad about this. Because it's, in the basement of your house.
Right.
It feels like a casino. You don't know what time it is outdoors, because it looks the same with the lighting and everything at all times.
I could see that.
Yeah. And the reason I thought of it is because when I came in today to your house, the days are getting longer, and it's bright and sunny and beautiful out. And very often we're recording at night, right? When it's dark, right, and it's light out.
Not this time of year, right?
Right, exactly.
That's cool.
And so
maybe we'll have to create an outdoor studio.
We often say, good evening, how are you tonight, and all that, and it's still daytime. So we're in a casino. That's the point.
It's still evening, though.
It is evening, right? Early evening, I guess.
Yeah.
Even though the time on the clock is the same as it is when it's dark at a different time of year. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I'm confident you're going somewhere productive with this.
Well, that was just an observation. I'm just saying it feels like a casino. And as I was sitting there chatting with you before we started recording.
No, you were absolutely right. And I spent a lot of time in this room because I work from this room as well. And it has that feeling sometimes. So no, I have to, get out of here sometimes because it'll have that effect. You don't know what time it is, and you just
This was my second observation. I don't know if it's actually true, but over on that hook on that door, it looks like you have a bowling shirt. Are you a bowler? I don't take you as a bowler.
No, that is not a bowling shirt.
It's not.
No, that's. I think that's a a corporate branded Point Blank Enterprises shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, just kind of see you rolling that little ball down the aisle.
Oh, well, it depends on which shirt you're talking about. The other one, no, that's not a bowling shirt. That's just
just a shirt.
That's just a casual short sleeve button down shirt,
which is kind of like a bowling shirt. Anyway.
All right. Yeah. So no, not a bowling shirt.
All right. You ready for my third observation? This is a softball. I'm lobbing this one up to you.
All right.
And you
what
can. So everybody has heard a number of times that I sing to test the microphone and the equipment before we actually start recording.
And his podcast partner, to test his podcast partner and my
Right.
level of tolerance.
Right. And the thing that I noticed, and I appreciate this about you, is that when I do that, when I sing and when I'm, changing octaves and various things, it's very soothing to you. It calms you right down, and you're ready to just roll when we get in here and get going. And that's my observation. That's my third observation.
So that's what you perceive is going on?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just going into my happy place in my head and trying to just focus on the fact that we're going to hit record here pretty soon and you're going to stop making that noise.
It's a noise. I mean, that might be what we're talking about tonight, right?
Yeah.
Or today or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, there you go.
I think we should talk about it.
Okay.
I think we should talk about the incredible power that sound has in our lives. And all the things that happen on a daily basis, sometimes with intention, sometimes not, and the impact that they have. And I think we go through life and things just happen, and I don't think we necessarily realize it at the time, or maybe call it out and have a discussion about what it really does for us, to us, and so on.
I might have said noise. I should have said sound. Sorry about that.
Well, they're kind of the same thing.
It's an interesting. It is an interesting topic. When Bryant sent me the topic, I didn't quite know what to make of it. I needed, as I said to him, an ounce of context, and he gave that to me. But please tell our audience, where did this come from? Because I really don't know where it came from. I know an ounce of what you meant by it now, because you told me. Actually, you texted it to me. But where did it come from? What prompted this?
So the inspiration, and this will not come as a surprise to folks that listen and watch our videos, listen to our podcast. But believe it or not, my granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter, was the inspiration behind this topic. And the first thing I came up with is the sweetest sound. But then I kind of massage that title a little bit to be the power of sound. And it, to me, when she is in this happy place, happy mood, and she says one word, it just melts my heart, right? And when she looks at me, or she didn't have to even be looking at me, I mean, I certainly recognize her voice, but when she says the word grandpa, that just, man, it's because it was one of those things that we weren't sure. I mean, we ultimately were sure she'd eventually say it, but she had a few different iterations of it leading up to it, and then that was a little bit of a challenging one for her. And it's just awesome to hear.
Yeah.
And and there's many other things, but there's sound is something unique because it can like a lot of our senses, but it can motivate you, it can inspire you. It can scare you. It can irritate you. It can warn you that danger is near. Just a myriad of things. And it's when you start really just sitting down and thinking about the impact that sound can have on your life, on your mood, etc. When we're dealing with music, can lift you up. It can, like I said, scare you, cause that anxiety, or create anticipation. I mean, there's just so many things that you can influence as far as someone's emotions with sound, and I think it's fascinating to talk about.
Yeah, I enjoyed thinking about it and doing a little bit of research on it as well. And as we continue to get into it, I have this question for you. Are you sound can be anything. It can be a voice, it can be music, it can be just a noise. And in your mind, when you think of sound, are you distinguishing among them, or are you particularly focused on some aspect of sound, like voices or music or nature sounds, or are you just, is it all, you kind of throw it all?
Yeah, I think it's really all encompassing.
Okay.
Because that's, you think about your day and the different sounds that you can be exposed to, and it's really all of them.
Yeah.
And it's something, we're all about personal growth and development, and sound is something that you can use with intention to lift yourself up. You're having I tell a story about my youngest daughter, Maddie, who is the musician, by the way, and she was having this dates back many years, but she was just having a crappy day, and I don't remember exactly what the circumstances were, but ultimately we just decided it was time to get in the car and go for a ride and listen to some music, and that just, by the time we were done with that little car ride and listening to some music, mood completely changed, and that is the power of sound, the power of music, and I think it's cool.
Yeah, it really is. You will, maybe you won't be surprised to hear this, but when you mentioned the topic and I started thinking about occasions in my own life where I use sound, and in this case what I was thinking about specifically music, I have music going on in my head pretty much all day when I'm working, unless I'm talking to somebody or on a phone call or a Zoom call or something like that. I put my earbuds in my ear and I pull up, it's actually an app, and it's called Brain. That's it. And it is an app that has a variety of different types of music that it pipes into your head that is intended to put you in a certain frame of mind depending on what you're doing. If you're trying to be real creative, then it will give you music that has a wavelength and tones that tend to activate the creative parts of your brain. And cool. when you're doing deep focused work, it's a different type of sound. And when you're doing relaxation or meditation or wanting to sleep, it's a different type of sound. And it's an app that you have to pay for. Brain.com is what it is. And I'm not trying to do an ad for them. I'm just telling you, I use it, hours per day. And
that's cool.
What it does, not only is it soothing, but it eliminates distractions. Because if I can't hear all the other stuff that's going on around me, I tend to be more focused. Plus, the science behind it, and apparently there is, it's bombarding my brain with wavelengths, frequencies and tones that are soothing to different parts of my brain. Isn't that fascinating?
It really is. And I appreciate you sharing that, because I'll use, I have not seen that app or used music in that way specifically, but I will, put something on in the background, and because I just like having that noise, if you will,
right?
But it's a pleasant noise, and it just creates an environment for me that is productive, and it just motivates me, man. I love music.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
That was an awkward pause.
No, because I was replaying in my head what you were singing just before we started recording about let the bodies hit the floor, kind of.
Right.
Go ahead, do it.
No.
Come on, do it.
Not gonna roll out with the let the bodies hit the floor. Who sings that, by the way? I'm drawing a blank on who sings that, but it's there's a video out of a guy that's he's probably 60, 70 years old that does a rendition of that. It's a YouTube video. I forget what the guy's name is, but man, it's he's pretty powerful, and he gets into it.
Okay, so you can use sound, in this case music, and voices, as you started out with, as a calming, as a soothing, as a to put you in your happy place, but it can also do just the opposite, right? And do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely can. And some of the, especially when you're talking about, I'll use children as an example, that sweet sound of a child's voice can be that way at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by noon, it might be irritating the crap out of you.
Yes.
Yes. But it's still, once you get past, whatever frustration you might be dealing with because the child is having a bad day, you still, I think, can sit back and appreciate the beauty of that human being and that voice that they have, and yeah, it's just, it certainly can be irritating or annoying. I don't know why this just flashed into my mind, but woodpeckers.
Okay.
All right. I had an experience years ago where I was working a midnight shift, and we had just moved into this house, and there was a woodpecker that apparently was welcoming me to the neighborhood or something, and I was trying to sleep, and this dude was just annoying the heck out of me. I think woodpeckers are actually protected, so I'm not 100% sure on that, but my wife was pretty sure that they were. So when I went outside with a shotgun, she recommended maybe I should not shoot that woodpecker.
Was it on the house, or
no? It was out
in a tree? Okay.
Yeah, in a tree near the house, and I swear it was like he knew when I laid down to go to sleep, and he just started. Yeah. So that kind of sound can certainly annoy you,
right?
And cause you to react in unproductive ways, like going and shooting a potentially protected species. But I didn't.
You know what's interesting about that particular comment and that particular sound is, and it reminds me, and I actually had a note on it, how the same exact sound can be a joy and a pleasure and a soothing balm to some people, and it can be an annoying hell for other people.
Yeah, absent the fact that I was trying to sleep, I might have actually thought that was kind of cool and listened to them. But yeah, there's a bunch of different examples. I'm sure you can think of. Well, I can think of another one. Motorcycles, right? So the incredible sound of a Harley-Davidson V-twin.
Oh, here we go.
Whether it's the current V-twin or a shovel head or the Evo.
My goodness.
They all have their unique sound. And man, that is music to my ears, and it annoys the hell out of other people. That's just what it is.
I like the sound of woodpeckers, unless they're on your house, and then you don't like that at all.
Yeah.
And Harleys actually sound pretty good too, I must admit. But I know that Harley people can get downright intense about the sound of a Harley.
What?
Exactly.
Yes, indeed. And we like to make it louder so that other people can enjoy it, because we think it's so cool. We want to share it with others.
That's when it gets annoying.
Yeah.
When somebody's going down your block with a however you enhance the sound of it. What do you put some sort of, what is that? What do you do to the?
Well, it's kind of a requirement. You have to put different pipes on the bike.
Okay.
Because they're not near loud enough when you first get them.
Okay.
Those stock pipes. Nah. Can't deal with that. So you heard me ride by your house the other night. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Actually, it was yesterday afternoon.
I hear it all the time. So it's not just you. There's others as well. And then they usually get right kind of near the house and.
That was me.
Okay.
No, it wasn't.
No, but speaking of the opposite effect, there's some very skilled craftsmen that are working in my backyard right now, and I went out to just check in with them, see how they were doing on the project that they're doing for me. And they have this little jam box, this little music box, and they were playing the hardest. It wasn't that loud, but just the hardest, harshest, heavy metal, headbanging music as they were working. And there was just something about it that struck me as the most annoying sound on earth. I mean, it was just heavy pounding, and the artist was screaming into, just repeatedly for like a minute, screaming into the recording microphone, whatever, when they recorded the song. And I'm thinking to myself, who could possibly enjoy that? It was, I mean, for me, it was a horrible sound, and I just wanted to turn around and walk back in the house until it was over. And they noticed my reaction to it, and they went over and quickly turned it off, and I had a conversation with them. But they loved it. It makes them work better. They enjoy the. Why are you?
I never had the pleasure of meeting your father, but this is one of those moments where you're becoming your father.
Probably.
Right?
Probably, yes.
Yeah. Turn that music down.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but this was...
It's like that Progressive commercial, where the guy's teaching people how not to become their parents.
You've become your father. Right. Anyway, there you go. So that is as I thought about a variety of different sounds, music, voices, and so on, I thought, and just what I said, that it can be so soothing and important and helpful to one person and not to the other. And it's the same exact thing. So it's funny how even in the same family, I think about my brothers and my sister and the kind of music that we like or the things that are of interest to us. Same environment, same parents, same everything. And I'm thinking, we are not of the same. We can't be. It's impossible. You came from the mailman. That's what
You think they're out on the lawn yelling at people to turn their music down?
Probably. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I know you like headbanging music, or some of it anyway.
Yeah, some of it.
Yeah.
I mean, country's my go-to genre.
Yeah.
But I like other types of music.
All right.
Yeah, like some gangsta bluegrass stuff.
Yep.
That's good.
I've said several times on this podcast that the older I get, the less I know. And as I started doing some research into the power of sound, which is what you texted to me, I mean, there's a whole huge body of knowledge on this exact. I mean, it's a science. It's a whole field of study with experts that consult with all kinds of different businesses and locations on what's exactly the right kind of sound to pipe into an environment to make everybody do whatever it is, emotionally, mentally you want them to do. At a shopping mall, for example, certain types of music.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Will be piped in.
I'm not sure what elevator music is supposed to do for folks. That's never been incredibly entertaining.
I think. Well, no,
that's like a whole category in and of itself. Elevator music.
Right.
Yeah.
But the
sound is cool. It really is, and it's when you talk about nature, and we talked a couple episodes ago about the cicadas, and they're coming out in May, I think.
Yeah, when are they coming? They're coming
soon.
Okay.
And that we'll hear that racket for a little while, but there's just so many cool sounds, especially this time of year, the spring, which is really like a time of renewal, and so many cool things are going on, and it's nice to just sit outside and listen to the various sounds of nature, and it's peaceful and calming.
Yeah. And it goes way back into our, into the womb. That's when our appreciation for noise and sound and inputs, and that's why an infant draws comfort from and is drawn toward the mother's voice, is because they've heard. I mean, it can be other voices too, the father and so on, but
right.
Particularly the mother, because the mother is with the child all the time, obviously, and talking to people throughout the pregnancy, and so the child gets used to hearing that voice and associates it with warmth and goodness and all of that, and so right after they're born, when they hear their mother's voice, it's very calming.
Yeah, they know that tragic experience that they just had is okay, because I still hear mom's voice.
I'm still here. Voice.
The scenery has changed, but I'm still here.
Psychoacoustics. That's the name of one of the names of that I found, the body of knowledge related to how sound affects you. Psychoacoustics. So there you go. That's my big word of the day.
Interesting.
Can you spell that?
Probably.
I won't ask.
I'm not going to, but
yeah,
I think I could give it a go.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. Psycho and
acoustics.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. Unlike some other words out there.
Right. So other than the brain app that you're talking about, which is very cool, I'm going to definitely look that up. What other ways or what experiences have you had with sound that are notable that you could share?
Yeah, probably the other really big thing that popped into my mind when I started thinking about it is one of the things that I love to do, many people love to do it, is go for hikes, day hikes. I'm not much of a put on the 50-pound backpack and go for weeks sleeping in your tent on the ground with rocks and dirt and stuff. Not really. that
Yeah. Interesting how you use sound to paint that picture. I'm sure no one was getting inspired by your description of that.
Rocks and dirt and stuff. But going on a lengthy day hike when you're away from all people and you're just enjoying the sounds of nature that are around you, there are few things in life that for me are more calming, soothing, refreshing, rebuilding. Those are probably all the right words. And even though physically at the end of a 5 or 7 or mile hike, you get back to your starting point, you're physically exhausted sometimes. Mentally, you are in heaven because you've got to take in all of that beautiful sound of the natural environment. And I love that. I don't know. How about you?
So I mentioned earlier, the sound of my oldest granddaughter saying the word grandpa, right? So I'm anxiously awaiting the younger one when she starts talking. It's going to take her a little while to master that, but just people's voices. Your family members, your friends, and when you hear their voice, maybe it's something you haven't heard in a while. And voices are interesting because some people have incredibly soothing voices with a cool tone about them that you can just listen to, and it really kind of captivates your attention. And then other people were not gifted with the same kind of voice, and they're unfortunately, and maybe it's all relative, right? So based on your own individual perception, but there's some folks out there that just have annoying voices, and I don't know of a nice way to say that, and maybe it's not, not everybody feels that way about that person, but you might perceive it that way. But one of the things that I was thinking about in this whole process is, we've mentioned how your sense of smell is so closely tied to your memory.
Yep.
I think sound is a lot like that as well. Whether it's a song that takes you back to your childhood or your teenage years or whatever, or in a lot of ways it may be music from an experience that you had, or something of that nature. But it I think it is strongly tied to your memory as well, and you may hear something that you haven't heard in a while that will kind of spark that memory.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, speaking of soothing voices, I love my wife's voice. I just love talking to her so that I can hear her voice. I really do. I think it's one of the things that attracted me to her was her voice as well. And for me, it's so calming and soothing, and it's wonderful. I've had, speaking of wives' voices, I've had people comment to me about your wife and her voice on the podcast, on the preamble and the postamble.
Yeah, for those of you that did not know, that
Right.
female voice that you hear at the beginning of every one of these episodes is my lovely wife's voice.
I hope that was okay to put that out there. I'm sure it was, but maybe.
Yeah. Well, if it's not, I could just edit it out.
You're right.
No,
You can.
We don't do that. No, it was absolutely fine to mention it.
Yeah.
She's not hiding behind her voice in this electronic format.
Okay. Good.
But it's interesting though that people that know her and hear it don't realize that it's her.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me because they're not used to hearing her in that context.
Right.
But I've had people say, "Man, who was that you chose? That's some sort of professional, voice person." And I said, "Sure is. Paid a lot of money for that." At least Bryant did. There you go.
Absolutely. Nope, she did a fine job.
She did a great job. Yeah, I was gonna say something else, and I was looking at my notes, and I lost it. It had something to do. I got distracted by. Yeah, I was talking about. I very much enjoy the sound of my wife's voice, and could listen to her talk all day, and it's gone. Whatever it was.
Do we need to call her real quick to get a reset? So you can hear that voice and get back on track?
Yes. Yeah.
So here's one. I mentioned this earlier that, sounds that can scare you. Gunfire, depending on the scenario, right? It might actually motivate you.
Right.
And how about the sound of a rattlesnake and the rattles, right? You ever been up close and personal to hear that? I actually think that I don't like them. And at the same time, I think, rattlesnakes are actually one of the nicest snakes. And the reason I say that is they're at least kind enough to give you an audible warning before they strike.
Yeah.
But that's a sound that'll scare the crap out of you if you're not paying attention. Even if you are paying attention, it's still going to scare you.
Right. Yeah. I have that video of one on my phone. That in the not so distant past, in my latest visit to Wyoming, my home state, went back there and we were walking down a path and a couple different. It was summertime and the sun was out and the snakes were coming out to sun themselves, and we ended up disturbing a number of them. So much so that my sister-in-law said, "I will never walk this path again. I'm done." Now that I know that they hang out in this particular spot, I'm done because of that sound, or whatever, however that sounds. I think
something like that.
Yeah. So.
Or not.
Or not.
I have some of them somewhere that I could break out and rattle for you. Actually, I don't know if I have them here, if my dad has them. My grandfather was very much an active outdoorsman and did a lot of hunting in South Georgia, and those eastern diamondbacks down there are monsters, and he had to kill a few over the years and would always cut the rattles off, and that was a cool thing as a kid to go back and see that bag full of rattles and take them out and play with them.
A lot of people put them in bolo ties, put them in polyurethane or whatever, some sort of, in a clear liquid that dries and creates a cool looking bolo tie.
Nice.
You can still do it. You can do it with yours, wherever you got them.
Have to find them.
I want to see you at the next big event with a rattlesnake rattle.
See, the problem with a bolo tie, or any tie for that matter, you can only see. I don't even know that you wouldn't see that part of the bolo. It's kind of covered up.
Well, you can pull it down, show it off.
Yeah, or trim my. No, that's not happening.
Yeah, then at least not. Well, I don't know. Will it ever happen? I don't know. That'll be interesting. I was actually thinking about
there is no current intent to do such a thing.
Okay.
Every now and then I might have a fleeting thought come into my head that says, "Hey, why don't you cut your beard down some?" And then I just smack myself back into reality and keep on moving.
So in terms of the audience, our wonderful, smart listening audience, what is it about sound that we want to make sure we emphasize with them that they can take away?
So for me, I think the biggest thing is to understand the power that it has and how it can, invoke those memories, or change your mood, create that uplifting and inspiring mood, get you out of a bad mood, so on and so forth, and create. I love that you mentioned that app, and I'm sure there's other ones like it out there. Use music and things of that nature with intention to create your environment so that it does keep you in a good place. We're machines. And the information that we put into our minds will either churn out good stuff, good returns in the form of activities and thoughts and so on, or it'll create bad stuff if it's if you're allowing it to have a negative influence on you. So understand what you're allowing into your head and use that stuff with intention.
Yeah. When you talked about the way that it can bring back memories, everybody can relate to this. But you know how you're driving down the street or you're walking past a storefront that's playing music and you hear a song that you haven't heard in a while, and that song immediately takes you in your brain to a specific place, a specific time, a specific person, that it all comes rushing back. And that's what it does to you. It makes you recall certain times, and they can be good times or they can be bad times depending on what it is. But it happens many times per week where I'll hear a song and I'll think, wow, I went back to 1979 when I was in high school, and such a person said something or was playing a song in their car, or or on their boombox at that time when they were carrying it on their shoulder.
Up on the shoulder. Yep. Yeah. I had one of those.
But to circle back to what you finished with, sound is medicine. It can be if you use it that way.
Yeah.
And that's to me the biggest thing that I think for me is a takeaway is it can and it does change your mood. It changes your state. And if you are in a bad state, then take sound, music, nature, whatever those sounds are that cause you to change a state that's better than what you're in right now, and use it as medicine. It really is.
Yeah, man, I love that. Sound is medicine. Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of the that is exactly the message that I wanted to get out there. I didn't put it into words so eloquently like that, but that's exactly what it is. Use it with intention. Whether it's music or having conversation with somebody that is that soothing voice that is on the other end of the phone or in person that just captivates you. Just pay attention to that stuff and the impact that it can have on you.
Yeah, pay attention. So many times we talk on the podcast about things that you can do instead of just drifting through life, right? And allowing yourself to be impacted by and reacting to the things that are going on around you. Make a decision to purposefully change your state by selecting some music, talking to a person, doing something that changes you into a state that you need to be in to continue to perform, to continue to work, and to continue to relax, whatever it is that you're trying to do. Yeah, there you go.
I just glanced at my notes a second ago, and I got to call this out. The sound of running water, right? And I'm not talking like running water in the sink or the bathtub. I'm talking about, in nature or, a waterfall or something that you may have, a water feature in your backyard or something, man. That sound is just incredibly soothing. And, create environments in your world that has stuff like that going on in it.
Yeah. Just a couple weeks ago, Paul and I went out to the homestead and went on a day hike, and it's like 7 waterfalls. Remember?
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures, man. Yeah. It's beautiful, and I bet the sound there was just phenomenal.
The sound was phenomenal. It was, and that's the thing. That's where for me and for many people, I'm not alone in this. So many people can enjoy that, but when you take the time to get out and do that, it's amazing. It's amazing how refreshed you are when you're done, even if it's just one day, one time in the busy, hectic, loud, honking horns, world, yelling people,
thunderous sound of Harley-Davidson motorcycles,
the noise of politics that's being jammed down your throat every night. Get away from it all. Go for a hike and be still, be calm, tune it out, tune something else in.
Yeah, I saw something today I thought was cool. You know how you get those messages from the universe that help you know that you're on track?
Yeah.
So I got one of those this morning because I was thinking about this subject that we're going to have a conversation about. And something flashes on the TV about some survey that somebody did here recently. And it was about, what is some of the most popular pastimes that are going on right now. And one of the most popular, actually they said the most popular pastime right now is listening to your favorite song. That's timely.
You just reminded me. Remember I told you I couldn't remember what I was going to say? It came back to me. Thank you for saying that.
Right,
you just
we should thank the universe for that.
Yes, we should. So with I think, and I'd have to think about, with all of your other senses, you can make the decision to turn them off. If you don't want to see anymore, you can close your eyes. If you don't want to feel something, you just don't, you don't touch it. If you don't want to smell something, you plug your nose. You can turn it off, but with hearing, you can't turn it off.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to either, right?
Right.
I mean, in some cases, like when you mentioned earlier, getting ready for the podcast and you're singing and so on. I mean, there's times where,
it's amazing. I mean, I really do see you calm down and get ready, and it just gets you focused.
Yeah, that's how I calm down when I'm in an environment that I need to focus on. I just kind of block it out.
It's not true. You should see him tapping his foot when I'm singing, and he's kind of, swaying a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, you can't turn off your ears even when you're sleeping. And And so you gotta purposefully decide. I don't know. Do you at night? Do you listen to anything when you're sleeping? Like some people use white noise, some people use music, some people. All right.
I do not.
Yeah, I do. I like it. I use soft, soothing music, and for me, that's another good one. There you go. Teaching you all kind of things.
Yeah, I don't routinely do it when I'm sleeping. I have actually put some audio books on and listened to those as I was going to sleep. And they say, I don't know if it's true or not, I think to a degree it probably is, that your mind is still absorbing that while you're sleeping. For me, I'm there to sleep, and I plan on doing that.
Right.
Especially now that, I actually get quality sleep.
Right.
Since, March of last year when I started using that CPAP, man.
Okay.
I didn't realize how much sleep I wasn't getting until I started getting some. Yeah, turns out it makes a difference.
Yeah, feeling a bit better, faster, stronger as a result?
Yeah.
Okay.
Leaner, meaner. Yeah.
Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that.
Yeah, so that's just I'll throw that out there as a health reminder. If you're one of these guys or ladies that falls asleep in the afternoon or finds yourself nodding off right after lunch, and you got to drink that gallon of coffee to stay awake in meetings or whatever, or you sit down at night to read a book or watch TV and you just can't stay awake, you might want to consider getting a sleep study done, because there is a huge segment of our population that suffers from sleep apnea, and they just don't know it. I had no idea. The only reason, and I've said this before, the only reason I got checked was I went to have knee surgery, and they put this sleep apnea wristband on my arm and said I was a sleep apnea risk. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And it was all about two questions that I answered. Do I snore? And what's the size of your neck? So I thought, well, if it's important enough for them to put that band on my wrist that says I'm a hazard, maybe I should look into this a little bit. Yeah, and boom. Turns out I was actually stopping breathing like 60 times an hour.
Wow, goodness gracious, that's once a minute.
Yep.
I'm actually partially because of what you've gone through. I'm going through it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. We'll see. Because I know that I'm waking up in the middle of the night as a result of stopping breathing. I don't know how often, but hopefully I'll know soon, because I just finished one aspect of it, the one they put on your finger. And
very
measures
cool.
Something. So yeah, thanks for that. Anyway,
kind of got off track there.
That's music to my ears.
That is something that we should all be aware of. This is the Graybeard Chronicles that you're listening to and watching, and we're not getting any younger, and I don't care how old you are, you're not getting any younger either. So take care of this physical body that you have and make it last as long as you can, so you can get the most out of life while you're here. And taking care of yourself in that way, whether it's sleep apnea or whatever.
Yeah. Not getting any younger, but not looking any older. At least I'll speak for myself on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the fantasy world I live in my head sometimes. It's easy being me when you live in the fantasy world all the time. There you go.
All right, so what have we not said about sound that we need to say?
We've covered it all. Everything in my notes we've talked about, so I'm good.
All right, I'm good as well.
All right.
So let's give these folks one last thing to listen to, and watch, right? Those folks that are watching us on YouTube, and don't forget to subscribe. Click that little button down there and subscribe, so you'll be notified, and click the little bell icon so you'll be notified when we post new videos, which is every week right now, and that frequency is going to be dialed up here before too long. I'm not letting that cat out of the bag all the way. I just kind of cracked the bag open a little bit so you could see that there's a cat in there, but we're not letting the cat out yet. We'll do that later.
Right.
But yeah, so let's wrap this thing up here with this traditional saying that people like to hear. No matter who you are, or where you are, or what you're doing between this podcast and the next, make sure you take time to enjoy the ride.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. Please subscribe so you'll receive notification when new episodes are available. To learn more about the Graybeards, visit their website, graybeardchronicles.com.